The purpose of the Treasury is to bring wealth and power back into the community. Let's look at the tools of the Treasury to understand how it happens. The 7 tools of the Treasury are real estate, a development curriculum, appropriate licensing, deed restrictions and contracts, a geography, a sponsor, and the treasurer themselves. Let's get into the details. Real estate is how the wealth of an urban area is stored. The value of an urban area is that we're all so close together, exchanging at high rates of overlap. And that is the value. That's why we come to cities. And then the value of us being so close together is manifest in the real estate itself. So buying real estate is an obvious tool for bringing power and wealth back into the community. But because we're being high impact, we're not looking at it on just one level. We're also looking at the other aspects of owning real estate. That includes the ability to leverage. You can go, if you own 2 houses, you can go to just about any banker and say, I want to leverage these houses to buy that other house. And a banker will say, sure, here's a pile of cash. Do with it what you want. Now, if you want to go back to that banker later, you actually better do what you said you were going to do. But to get the initial leverage, just owning houses allows you to do that. So owning the real estate gives you this ability, this power to be able to go to bankers, go into the financial institution and get what you want from them. In addition to leverage, rental real estate also comes with monthly cash flows, and that gives us discretionary income that the treasurer can use to invest in themselves, to invest in community members, invest in whatever way they want, so long as they're keeping up with the maintenance and the taxes and the insurance of the initial real estate. A development curriculum, some sort of language, some sort of framework to be able to talk about economic development. It is not what we would call a popular topic. It's not things most people sit around discussing it casually, so most of us don't have language for development. Having a reliable language, a reliable curriculum, the wealth curriculum, which I've written for this explicit purpose, gives the treasurer a framework to talk about their own development, the Treasury's development, and the development of the community members who choose to engage with the Treasury. And then the one-to-one connection between the treasurer themselves and any of the community members that want to participate. This is a way that as power and wealth gets stored into the Treasury itself, it can also then be rolled out, it can be networked, it can be connected to the community through this shared language, this shared framework for a conversation that we get from the wealth curriculum. Licensing. The basic license that a treasury needs to have is a general contractor's license, because you need a general contractor's license to be able to acquire the discount real estate that gives us free equity. Now, it is common that a house or a parcel will become abandoned, will become vacant, will become dilapidated, and the city will become aware of it. If it gets vacant, registered as such, you often need a general contractor to be able to purchase that discount real estate. And if we start with that license in-house, it just gives the Treasury that much more power, that much more ability to navigate like a wealthy person. And so the appropriate licensing to start with is the general contractor's license. And then with each remodel, the treasurer can bring in community members, can give them training on the assets, on the projects that the Treasury is taking on. And as the treasurer starts to associate with other trades, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, furnace, gas, whatever, we start to get affiliated with more licensing, giving more opportunity for the community members to get tied into these high-paying restricted fields, the trades. And so the license we start with is the general contractor's license, but our ability to bring in more licenses into the umbrella of the Treasury, to affiliate with more licenses, brings more power and more wealth into the community. Deed restrictions and contracts. These are not to give the Treasury power. These are to keep the power of the Treasury focused, to keep the power of the Treasury serving who it intends to serve, which is the neighborhood. And so the contract can be between the treasurer and the sponsor organization, and the deed restrictions can be put on the properties that the sponsor's money paid for to make sure that the use of those properties, the rents, and the exchange of those properties supports the values that brought the arrangement together to begin with. So deed restrictions and contracts help to keep the power and the wealth of the Treasury focused and maintain the same values that we intended to start with. A geography. We have to be focused somewhere. And so a treasury needs to focus in a specific neighborhood. Focusing on a specific neighborhood over time allows the compounding effect to take hold. If you put power and wealth into a community and then next month move it to a different community, next month focus on a different community, you'll never have an impact. But if we can focus wealth and power into a single community and keep it there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, we'll start to see the positive effects of that wealth and power managed from the local level compound and really change the face of the community. And so having a geography of focus that we stay in is absolutely critical to the long-term outcomes that the Treasury can achieve. A sponsor, that's a wealthy individual or a wealthy organization that wants to offer preferential treatment to the treasurer and the Treasury. They want to support the well-being of the community, and they want to support that by bringing wealth and power back into local control. And so the sponsor is going to offer preferential loans to found the Treasury. They still get paid back, they still make profit, but it's not exactly the same as a retail loan. We're going to get more into the structuring of the loan and this preferential treatment in a different video. I think it's going to be called Business Structure of the Treasury. So you can go there if you want to get into the nits and pieces of that preferential loan. So the 7 tools of the local treasury are real estate. That is the power and wealth of urban exchange manifest. It's an obvious choice. A development curriculum gives us a language to be able to talk about economic development personally. That's a less obvious choice because we often don't know that we don't have the right language. But the curriculum exists and it allows for us to have a casual conversation about a more difficult to reach topic, economic development. The appropriate licensing, we start with a general contractor's license and we start to affiliate to bring in access to all of the well-paying trades for the people of our community. And then deed restrictions and contracts keep the power and the wealth focused. They keep it maintained on the same values, the same purpose that we originally started with. A geography allows the compounding effect to occur, that if we stay focused on the same geography over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the compound effect will be amazing. And then the sponsor brings the money to the situation, offers preferential loans. They still make profit. They still get all their money back, but it's offered in a format that you won't find in a retail bank. And then the last tool of the Treasury that we haven't spoken about yet is the treasurer themselves, the individual who leads this operation of wealth and power in the community. The treasurer has to live in the community where they're working. It just doesn't make sense to say that we're bringing wealth and power to the community and you're going to be led by somebody who lives out somewhere else. It just doesn't track, right? Bonus points if they grew up in the community that they're bringing wealth and power back into. The treasurer is the treasury manifest. They are the strategic leader for the assets, for the development process. It is the treasurer who reaches out, who creates one-to-one contact with the people of the community and has these development conversations with everyone. And that one-to-one interaction, that's what requires that the Treasury always serve a small area. Because once you get past that one-to-one contact, once you start doing one leader to many people on the other side, it's no longer the power and wealth in the community. Now you have an institution. And we already have loads of institutions. So that becomes off purpose of the Treasury. The Treasury is to bring back wealth and power and give everyone in the community that personal connection to wealth and power through the treasurer themselves. And so the character of the character of the treasurer becomes critical, that they are there to serve. The role of a treasurer is more kin to the role of a chaplain than it is to a capitalist. It is the job of the treasurer to be with people on their economic path, to have the language that they can support an individual on their economic path. Most people of the community won't partner with the treasurer, won't get a job through one of the trades, won't work on any of the real estate that they buy. But the treasurer can still be there for the community members with their presence, with their professional experience, with their network, and with the language that helps people to be able to wrap their mind and their tasks around what it means to have a career and what it means to develop economically. So this seventh tool of the Treasury is the person themselves who we choose to become the treasurer. And so what would we call a person who can wield these seven powers? Well, I would call them powerful.